How's it going, everyone? This is MOS Tricks, and in this video we're going to be talking about Z Burst Dash Defense. This is one of the most annoying things in the game if you don't know how to deal with it, and it is 1000% a gimmick. And if you don't know how to deal with this, two things are going to happen. The first thing is you're going to take 25,000 damage just like that you don't deserve to take, and number two is you're never going to make it into the B ranks, and you're especially never going to make it into the A ranks in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero ranked. So whether you're trying to climb the ranks or you're simply tired of getting pranked out of existence by your friends, I've got all the sauce you're going to need to be able to combat against this gimmick and actually use some of it against them as well. So the number one thing that you do not want to do if you think someone's going to use a Z-Burst dash to get behind you is try and block it before it happens. If you hold block before they get to you, you will not turn around and you're taking back shots all day. The same thing goes for perception, so what you have to do is time your block or perception once they are in your step-in barrier so you turn around. And I also want to point out that if you try and turn around with an attack, you will always get hit first, so don't try and attack. And the same thing will also happen with a grab. If you try and turn around on reaction with a grab and they grab you at the same time, you're gonna lose. If they try and go for a grab and they happen to mess up by a couple of frames, you might get a grab clash, but even then that's extremely risky because more often than not, if it's a good player, they're not gonna make the mistake and you're just gonna get grabbed. So right off the bat, it looks like going for perception or going for a grab is going to be your best bet. But I also want to point out that as things get deeper and deeper, there's going to be more and more counterplay and mind games and mix-ups. So you gotta be careful about that, but thankfully for you guys, we're gonna cover all that too. So very quickly, I want to go over the concept of making a read and also getting conditioned or conditioning your opponent. For those of you that don't know what any of that means, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. So essentially, making a read is to have an educated guess as to what your opponent is going to try and do when they approach, and conditioning is the reason why you think what you think. So for example, if my read is to instantly go for a special instead of blocking, it's because every single time that I've blocked, my opponent has gone for a grab. So in this situation, my opponent has conditioned me to counter the grab because that's all he's been doing. So if I make a read on that grab, that means I can go for the special and try and punish his grab as it's coming out. Something that's super important that I want to point out as well is that a read is not on reaction. A read is basically like playing rock, paper, scissors. You're not able to change your mind halfway through throwing out what you chose for rock, paper, scissors. So if I think he's going to go for rock, I'm going to go for paper, and I'm going to just go ahead and do it and hope based on probability of what he's done in the past that I happen to be right. And since the situation happens so quickly, we are both committing fully to our options and then hoping for the best. This video isn't really all about reads, but more so how to defend against Z-Burst Dash, but just be careful of the fact that these things can happen based on how you have been playing. One of the best options I found to counter a Z-Burst Dash is to, on reaction, go for a step in. Stepping in is to simply press your dash button, which on PS5 is going to be your X button. The reason why stepping in is so powerful is because it actually has iframes. You cannot be hit during this animation. This dash is also auto tracking, and you don't have to push a direction to make sure that you go towards your opponent. Just simply push your dash button and it'll work every single time. You can also combo it into other things as well. During the animation, you can buffer perception, blocking, or if you want to, you can even use your key button, which on PS5 is triangle, and you can actually charge an attack which also has armor. So if you dash in and they're holding perception, you could just block or dash away and reset. Another thing I want to point out, and I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this is, but if you have 0 skill stocks and you try and do a step in into perception, for some reason it won't work. I wanted to show you guys here with no cuts in the video that you can see here I have 1 skill stock and now it's going to work. The first time it didn't work, but thankfully 99% of the time you're going to probably have at least 1 skill stock to save you, and honestly in that situation it's 1000% worth it. But even still, if you happen to have no skill stocks, you know for a fact that you can step in and then block and you'll be totally fine. The only difference is that you don't get an automatic punish, and there's a potential that the opponent's not going to learn and they're just going to keep doing it over and over again. So you want to make sure that you can punish them when you actually get the chance. Another thing I wanted to mention as well too is that you don't have the ability to do a revenge counter or a Z counter on reaction. The reason for this is because these counters don't turn you around automatically, and they also can't be performed when you're being hit in the back. I've heard that you can actually do it with a Z counter, but brother, I've never got it to work. And honestly, there's a lot of other things that you can do that are safer and better, but I thought it'd be important to at least point this out. But I also figured out some counterplay even if you don't have a skill stock that can also still work very well and give you a punish if you happen to be a good masher. If you do a Z-Burst dash or a Dragon Dash on reaction, you will get an automatic quick time event every single time. So if you know that you have a godly mash, or you even have key to boost your mash and you can probably win every single time, then you can just do this and you'll be absolutely chilling. Because at the very least, what's going to happen is that your opponent is going to get scared to Z-Burst dash in over and over if they keep on losing. This is a huge tip that I would not overlook. Yes, you might not get that much damage, but at least you're living. Because honestly, I'd way rather lose a quick time event than have this happen and lose 2.5 bars because I didn't know what to do. So to quickly recap on everything you just learned so you can walk away and feel like you actually know what to do. If you're fighting someone who Z-burst dash behind you and then mashes on you, step in with your dash button and then go for perception. If they are super grab happy, make sure you have ki and then start punishing it with specials. If you don't want to leave it up to chance and you know you have a godly mash, then just Z-burst dash back at them and try and win the quick time event. If you're gonna block or use perception, make sure you don't hold it in advance, otherwise you're taking back shots all day. Time your block or perception the moment that the camera does that jarring shift. As long as you don't panic, you'll be completely fine. And finally, pay attention to mix-ups and conditioning. Make sure you have a reason to do what you're doing. For those of you that didn't know, I'm someone who's been coaching fighting games and shooting games for the better part of 5 years. And what I've always done on this channel is break everything down to the best of my ability to make it easy for anyone to digest and actually learn. And if you feel like you learned something from this video and actually leveled up in real time, please share this video with some of your friends so that they can also have that same feeling. I appreciate you guys for checking out the video. Hopefully you did learn something new, and as always, have a good day.